Hi everyone. So today I want to bring you to the end of this specific experience, and then the videos that follow on from this one will start opening you up to the bigger picture and the real meaning behind why this happened to me. So where we got up to last time was that the light had entered me and I took that massive deep breath as it did, just because it was such an overwhelming feeling. And then after that I started feeling this wave of energy rushing through my body, up and down, and it was really buzzy and tingly, and it almost felt like I was being scanned. And it was quite methodical in the way it was doing it. It wasn't erratic. It had a very definite purpose to why it was doing it and how it was doing it. Yeah, and like I said, it felt like I was being scanned, like I was being analysed. And as the feeling continued, the voice returned to me, but this time it was different. It was still very distinct, but it was almost like it was my own voice now. I think what had happened is, because the light had become one with me, it was communicating with me in a different way now. It was communicating with me through my own thought patterns. And this time it said to me, "We're making sure you're ready." And at first this really confused me, but as it continued communicating with me, it started making sense. It said, "We're making sure you're ready for Canada." And this obviously goes back to what I said at the beginning of the first video, so this is how it all ties in. It was basically saying that something big was going to happen when I went over to Canada. Something life-changing. And I remember this totally resonating with me, because from the first day I'd met this girl that I was going to see over in Canada, I remember it feeling like fate that we'd met. And I remember feeling from the very first day that it all meant something more. And here I was now, the light confirming to me that my suspicions were correct. What I think it meant by "we're making sure you're ready for Canada" was that it was making sure that this vehicle, this Rhys Jones body, was ready on a molecular level to experience some sort of transcendental experience in waking reality. It was aware that I was emotionally ready. I think it was aware that I was mentally ready. But it wasn't sure if I was physically ready for it. And that's why it was scanning me. That's why it was analysing me, to make sure I was ready. And the vibe I was getting was that the analysis was going well. This ties in with what I was talking about in my 2012 video, about how the human race is evolving, how our bodies are evolving, how our DNA structure is evolving. And I think that the scanning and the analysing was just making sure that I'd reached a certain stage in my body's advancement. And whilst the light was in me, throughout the whole duration of it, it was imparting knowledge to me. Knowledge and wisdom and long lost secrets, and I remember feeling for a while like I knew everything. But sadly, this awareness started to fade more and more as the experience started to level out and the light eventually departed. It was similar to a salvia experience in that whilst you're tripping, you have total awareness of what life's all about, what the universe is all about, what's really going on. But then as soon as you come down from the high, that awareness fades away. So there I was, sitting on my couch in total shock about what had just happened. The light had come, it had done what it needed to do, it had prepared me for what was going to happen in Canada, and it left. And there I was, just sitting there, just my jaw on the floor, thinking, oh my God, what now? What now? What do I do now? And then the voice returned. And this time it sounded like how it did at the very beginning of the experience. And it said to me, "Go to bed now, Rhys. Go to bed." And so I thought, you haven't led me wrong so far, I'll listen to you, I'll take your advice, and off I went upstairs and went up to my bedroom. But before I went to bed, I thought, I've got to write this down, just in case I forget little details and little nuances. I thought, I've got to get this down in my diary before I go to sleep. So I open up my diary and start scrolling down what happened, you know, from the start to the finish. Scrolling down manically, you know, trying to get it all down as quickly as possible. And then quite a funny thing happened, because as I was writing this down, my TV remote, which is to the right of me, flings itself across my desk. Understandably, I jump at the sight of this. I'm quite taken aback. Whoa, what was that, kind of thing? And the voice returns one last time, and it says, "No, Reese, go to bed now." I found that quite funny, because it wasn't being horrible in any sort of way, but it was just trying to get my attention and say to me, no, you know, you've got to go to bed now. So it thought it would fling my TV remote across the desk just to drill that point home to me. And my intuition told me that the reason I needed to get to bed as quickly as possible was that I was being taken somewhere that night, that the light hadn't finished with me yet, and that the window of opportunity was closing. So I needed to get to bed, get to sleep, and go off for my little adventure for the night. And so, of course, once again, I listened to it, put my diary to one side, thought, that can wait for now. And I got into bed with great anticipation running through my veins for what was to come.